Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is Monday night. It is time for Revolutionary Change. I'm Dem Primary.
I'm Peter Hager, and you'll forgive me if you hear some chiming music in the background. How are you?
You're always in a lobby of a hotel. Why aren't you checking your room and then do it?
Well, unfortunately, I am not staying at this fancy, swanky hotel, but I am still at a conference, which is what brought me to Vegas in the first place. And so here we are, taking a break. Coach Mike Krzyzewski is actually the keynote speaker for this event that I am missing to be with you guys this evening.
I don't know who that is, so I
Coach
don't know.
K from Duke University, one of the greatest college, if not the greatest college basketball coach of all time. So yeah, that's who he is. I know how much you love college basketball, Jen. So
yeah, it's my ever dying passion.
So I think we may have figured out some, ever so briefly. I mean, we always know that there's going to be problems we're going to have to deal with trying to make this channel work. But one thing that I do want to point out is that we may have figured out one of those issues, although it does appear that we're still climbing up a mountain to figure out the algorithm on our channel. So if you would be so kind, please smash that like button. Let's get this out there to as many people as we can. So I am at a retail shopping center investors conference in Las Vegas. And as you guys know, I'm pretty outgoing, and I introduced myself to a bunch of different people. And when I was in the lounge area getting my headshot done, one of them actually came out pretty good. I got to admit, not too bad. I ended up introducing myself to a gentleman who I will not name and not say where he's from. But, well, actually, I am going to say where he's from. I introduced myself, and he introduced himself back and immediately said, "I'm from Palestine." And I asked him if I could pull up a chair, and he said, "Sure." So we started talking. And I even said to him, I said, "When people ask you where you're from, I'm guessing they have quite the reaction when you say where you're from." And he says, "Oh, they sure do." We ended up having a great conversation. And yes, the Zios are here. Not nearly as many as you would see at a multi-family conference, but they're here. You know, they kind of make themselves known. In fact, when I made my announcement during the session that I was in, the first person who came up to me was a guy from North Jersey that had his little hat on and wanted to inquire about the deal. I was cordial. I was polite. I didn't do anything inappropriate, but he made a presumption about the deal that was incorrect. And I was not about to correct him on it. So needless to say, it's par for the course when you're in the world that I'm in. But I will say that speaking to that gentleman was very cathartic in a lot of ways. And he totally agreed, Jen, with what we've been saying, that at least 250,000 to 500,000 Palestinians are dead. And
yeah,
he believes that the tide is definitely turning against Israel. He does. And if he believes that it's turning, then I think it's safe to say that it's turning for sure.
Yeah. Well, here's hoping. We're doing all we can for that. I'm not sure where you wanted to start. I have a few different ideas, but I mean, was there something in particular you wanted to?
Ladies' choice, if you would like to. I've got a few different places we can
go. Okay, so, well, do we want to start with something light or something not light? What do you think?
Define light, Jen. What's light?
It would be
with us, we don't do anything light.
No, this is somewhat light. It's like a sequoia, a nice big sequoia moment for someone. Yeah. Okay. So, Colin, there was a story that I sent you about the welding thing. Do you remember that? Let's see. Yes. Okay. So, guys, in the world of this, in the world of celebrating big dick energy and one sequoia at a time, okay, in the vein of that. And people want to make this be like a sexual thing, and it has nothing to do with that at all. And to demonstrate that, let's bring that story in. I thought this was very cool. Okay, guys. So a community college student from Michigan is the first woman to represent the U.S. at a world welding competition. This pleases me to no end. Scroll, wait, there was a picture of her. Let's see if we can. I wanted you to see her. She's adorable. Okay. Wait, no, it's okay. Go back. Let me read this. Yeah. So this is from Ann Arbor, Michigan. This is an AP story. Growing up, Michaela Spacito dreamed of being a trailblazer. I always wanted to be the first female to do something. And that dream is about to be realized. So she is 21 years old from Dexter, Michigan, will be the first woman to represent the U.S. at welding in the World Skills Competition in China. Okay, this is a badass thing. So she's a student at Washtenaw Community College, and she earned this spot by winning the USA Weld Trials in Huntsville, Alabama earlier this year. It was very, very close the whole time, but I was the one who made it to Shanghai. Described as the Olympics of skilled trades, World Skills determines the globe's best in technical disciplines that include construction, information tech, manufacturing, and robotics, and of course, welding. She is the sixth Washtenaw Community College student to qualify in World Skills history. And yeah, that was what I wanted to point out. So here's to, what was her first name again? Miss Spacito. Go back up. What was her first name, Colin? What is it? Michaela Spacito. You are, oh, sorry. See, wrong graphic. You are a Sequoia. You are a Sequoia today. So we thank you. And that's it. That's what I wanted to say. That was my,
Speaking
feel
of
good story.
Speaking of community college, speaking of Michigan, we all know that if there is a woman who is going to be in the center lane for the nomination for president of the United States on the Democratic side, it is Governor Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan. Michigan is a state that now has tuition-free community college. Now, I'm not here to talk about the negatives with Whitmer, of which there are many, but tuition-free community college to me is definitely something that without question is going to benefit a myriad of different people. And perhaps
can we guys, I see everybody talking about, no, I don't think this is the first time women have done welding. I don't think that at all. But as someone who actually watched a welder put my stairway together in my home and the art of that, and it's a very cool thing. It's a badass thing to do. You're playing with fire and a torch. You have to wear special stuff. Like, it's a badass thing to do. So yeah. No, I don't think it's like, I'm sure there are lots of women welders, but apparently not in this competition. So yay.
And so I do think if you can learn a skill, if you can go to college, I think that is absolutely very important. And look, it's one of the primary reasons why we've fallen so far behind countries like China. But it's not just China. China just happens to be the country that economically can challenge us. And so as a result, that is a country in which, and it's also an Eastern culture thing compared to Western culture, where education is a fundamental, foundational byproduct of the culture. To be able to provide or be a resourceful individual. I mean, we've seen the videos going back years now, but there were videos that were done on TikTok of this 6-year-old Japanese girl who gets home from school, from like kindergarten, and basically preps dinner for her family, 6 years old. It was incredible watching that. And at the same time, it's completely soul-crushing when you think about how far behind we are in our country. So these are the types of stories that I believe are worth celebrating.
It's so funny. We both went to do it. We both went to hit the same thing at the same time.
We got reached, a gentleman with USS Liberty actually reached out to us the other day. Hope you've connected with Rachel.
I am not sure which gentleman this is. We have had a few.
We have another Phil.
We're fortunate enough to have known a few. Yeah.
We got a second Phil. So a second Phil has reached out. and
Phil
we will
too.
be setting it up. Yes.
Phil too. Okay.
Phil too. Phil too and
Yeah.
two.
Rachel
Now-
loves the Liberty Guys. She loves them. That's like her favorite group are the Liberty Guys.
Well, they're heroes. They really are.
Yeah.
True heroes. And so, since we're on the subject of Democratic Party politics, and obviously Whitmer is going to be, I don't know if Whitmer, you see, Whitmer is going to be, she's going to be the, I guess what you would say, the moderate alternative to somebody like AOC, in that I'm not sure she can grab the nomination, but I absolutely think that because she's in a swing state, that she 1000% could be the VP. I think that that's very likely. Not that I'm here, like I said, touting this or even suggesting.
Can I tell you how absurd that is to me, to think that she would run as a vice presidential selection to Alex, when, while I don't
That's
like
not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. No.
Oh, okay.
What I'm saying is that I think that when you get right down to brass tacks, I think that the two women that are going to be the most prominent in the primary are going to be AOC and Whitmer. I do think that that is going to matter. And I do think to the old hats of the Democratic Party, they're going to see a person who, on the one hand, is a congressional representative, has not accomplished really anything on Capitol Hill.
No.
And then you're going to see a governor, the position that,
and filthy and negligent,
correct,
and
but
nefarious. Yes.
the governor position is often the position that gets elected to the presidency. And so I do think it'll be an interesting cat fight between the two of them if it comes to that.
You
Now-
really just said that? You really just said that? Do you know that that's like really, no, it's definitely like not a cool, don't do that.
All right.
No, it's seriously.
What's a
don't.
better term?
Valid competition, but it isn't, because it's a ridiculous competition, and I'll tell you why. Okay, you don't refer to women that are in any sort of legitimate competition as a cat fight.
Okay.
Seriously? That's
Can
you seriously don't. But
Okay.
anywho, here's
Explain
my
what
point.
you're going to explain.
Okay, this is the more important issue, is that Alex is so out of her league. Like, it's absurd to think that she would be somehow at a competitive level with Gretchen Whitmer. And again, not a fan of Gretchen Whitmer. I think she's despicable. I would never vote for her. She also has the crazy eyes. But that is a woman who has executive experience in running a state. Alex, it's the idea that she's even entertaining it is so laughable to me. And I'm so excited to watch her fall on her ass over, and it's only going to go horribly. And again, I don't like Gretchen Whitmer at all, but to put them in the same category of qualified is absurd.
I also think that the biggest issue that doesn't get talked about enough with Alex is that everyone is under this presumption that she is somebody who will stand firm on the issue of Israel-Palestine. And we have seen time and again that she will not. And you cannot bend on this issue. Either you have the conviction of Thomas Massie or you don't. It's really that simple. Thomas Massie is willing to lose his congressional seat, of which he is the most, by every measure, the most popular congressional representative in the United States today. And he's willing to lose it because he dared cross the president, who is completely cucked and capitulates to the Zio cause. And so that's who a real hero is, and that's somebody who really deserves that support. Now, I have been on somewhat of a crusade lately with you guys, basically reiterating a message that I'm going to continue to reiterate, which is the Democrats are much better at protecting empire and hence protecting the Zionist cause than the Republicans ever could be. I bring this up because even though this person is not going to win, and he's not, but this guy named Alexander Vindman is running for the U.S. Senate in Florida. So he's not going to win as Democrat. However, This is a major Russiagator and a guy who totally plays into the establishment. Here is what this guy had to say on, it was the Andy Ostroy show. And I want to give a shout out to not only friend of the show, but somebody who's always been a really solid activist in South Florida, Carolina Impudia, who I would say has seen better days, but we appreciate her efforts and all that she does. I want you to listen carefully to what this guy has to say about the Israel-Palestine issue.
Doesn't make sense to me. And I wonder how embarrassed people's parents must be when they see their children, doing that.
Sure.
One other thing, and I think this is going to probably be a bit controversial. I grew up in New York City. My best friend growing up was a Palestinian, Sirhan. I felt always very welcome.
So he says he had a really good friend growing up in New York City who was a Palestinian. He couldn't even get his last name out or even his first name. He just said Sirhan. Was it Sirhan by any chance? Is that what you were getting at, Alex?
I don't know who this is. I don't know who any of these, I have no idea what this, there's no context for any of this for me.
Well, but again, I'm explaining it. I'm saying that this guy is running as a U.S. Senate candidate in Florida as a Democrat.
Andy Ostroy.
Jewish.
That's his show. Andy Ostroy's the show. Alex Vindman is the guy he's talking to. He's giving a ridiculous answer.
Refugee kid from Soviet Union. My best friend was a Palestinian. I have fond memories. I've lost contact with him, but I still, feel close to him in a lot of ways. And I've never felt it from him, but I have felt it in a lot of other settings. There is a inherent trained racism against the Jewish people in the Muslim communities.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
How dare you? This is somebody running in Florida?
Oh, yeah. Statewide. As a Democrat.
For U.S. Senate. Right, for U.S. Senate. Good luck with that.
How bigoted can you possibly be? It's inherently taught to Muslims.
We should invite Anna Eskamani on to talk about this guy.
Unfortunately, Anna's in a tough spot if he ends up as the nominee, but I doubt she cares. And she shouldn't. Just be yourself. Do your thing.
Oh, my God.
Encouraged. It is nurtured. It is something that is not discussed. There are plenty of, kind of more open-minded liberal Muslims that, so it doesn't apply to everybody by any means, but in large communities, it is nurtured, this hatred and anti-Semitism. It is not something that's I see addressed in any significant way. And that is fundamental. If Israel, yes, of course. If Israel, you could say anything you want, baby. But if Israel is going to coexist in the region, this nurturing of hatred, dehumanizing of the Jewish people, that has to end.
But I keep trying to remind people.
Oh, wait. We have a Lebanese friend here. Thank you for checking in. It's late. Wait, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. Rabbi Sidow. Rabbi Sidow.
Rabbi Sidawi.
You don't know that, Rabbi.
Somebody check me on that.
All right, it looks good. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you.
That blatant level of bigotry, and we've been discussing this, it's the last bastion of support that the Zio state has. It's the last.
And somehow acceptable perfectly in the Democratic Party. Apparently, that's fine.
You want to talk about a truly bipartisan consensus amongst the established order in the two major parties? Being a bigot against Muslims is totally acceptable. It's still totally acceptable.
No.
Period.
Yeah, I don't know who to whom. I would say acceptability is relative because it's not acceptable to me. It's not acceptable to a lot of people. It's just not. You sound stupid.
I agree. But the problem is
Is that guy Jewish? Who is that? Vindman?
Alex
His
Vindman,
name?
I'm pretty sure he is. I'm pretty sure he is.
Oh,
Yes, he is, Kimiko. Of course he is.
I don't remember.
And that's why this guy carpetbagged his way into Florida and was getting an ungodly amount of campaign money.
Where's he from?
I think he's from Maryland, if I'm not mistaken.
So he just came, right. So, okay.
Listen, we have said this before. We've said it again. The Democratic Party in the state of Florida is worse than dead. So when they tell you to give money to the party, this is who they want you to give money to. Because if you give money to the Democratic Party in the state, all of this is going, this is how they operate.
I don't understand how people like Rashida and Ilhan, like how they're willing to tolerate this. Because essentially, if you're affiliated with a party that does this and allows this, you're condoning it to some extent. And that bothers me. It bothers me for them as much as it bothers me of them. Yeah.
I would agree. I also think that it is important. But then we also discover, pointing out, you might as well give it to Cars for Kids and throw it away that way. And again, this is the thing that we've learned about the Zio state and what they do. They infiltrate through every corner of the economic system. When you would see commercials for Cars for Kids, 1877 Cars for Kids, it turns out that was a front group for the Zionist cause. That's what they were doing. They've been doing it for decades. It's great that we know it now, but I'm sure they're not the only ones. I'm sure there's other ones out there that we are not aware of that perhaps now we should be. And this gets back to an important piece, Jen, that I know you wanted to talk about, because we keep emphasizing that there's two rules at play here if we do not get away from the Zio state. We are already having a hard enough time as it is competing economically with China. China is you're making it so easy for them to ultimately supersede the US dollar with the Chinese yuan. And as a result, if you think you've ever seen economic catastrophe in the United States, you have no idea what's coming, which is why we have to get away from them. Meanwhile, China is in a situation right now that, Jen, I know this is a story that you definitely wanted to talk about.
Well, wait, before we go in that direction, do we want to go Zio or China? Is that you want to go China?
Well, I figured we would go to China because this is showing people just on the surface how in the electoral system, the money system is still structured to make sure that the Zionists get through, which is why if Massie wins tomorrow, and my gut's telling me he's going to hold on, that
I hope so.
I
really hope so.
We'll find out.
Honestly, it isn't even to me so much about Massie as individually as the premise of being able to do that. And we've seen it multiple times, but this one is now the most expensive congressional race in history. So congratulations, AIPAC.
But you know what this also goes to show you, and this is something we're going to talk about with Zach, is that Massie had the courage of his convictions, unlike Bowman and Bush. They still played it way too close to the chest. They were not willing to be hated the way that Massie was willing to be hated.
They didn't take a stand.
They didn't.
Not enough. None of them have. That's the whole point. And it's exactly. At the end of the day, they all fell in line, and he doesn't fall in line.
And not only that, but the fact that Jamal Bowman has gotten himself involved in the congressional primary against Richie Torres and didn't endorse Jose Vega, who is running as a Democrat.
So
it's like,
wait, Jamal's running in that now? What?
No, he endorsed another candidate, Michael McBride, I think is his name. And the whole point is that you're just proving that you don't have the courage of your convictions. You're never going to support the person who truly should be supported. And as a result, this is why the Democratic Party is a dead end for any type of left populist energy. It's always been this way. Whereas Massie is representing a path forward for libertarian populism in this country that is becoming somewhat of a mainstay. But more than anything else, just the fact that he is challenging the Zio state in a way that nobody else had the guts to do. I mean, That's everything as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, so you want to get into China and about this meeting, right? This big meeting that
We
Trump.
totally want to get into China, and I went to China. Did you see I went to China? It was really great.
Oh, I saw you went to China. Did you see that Xi did not greet him at the airport, which you know that had to piss him off to no end. Because he knows, I mean, yeah. The meeting, I don't think had any real effect one way or another. I wouldn't have expected it to. I think, you know, Trump went over there basically with an entourage of oligarchs trying to make some sort of deal for them because of the shitstorm that he's swept up over there in West Asia, and basically is going to China and asking for some sort of help in this situation, right? Like they're coming in with definitely not with the upper hand, and exhibited by the fact that Xi did not even greet him at the airport. So he shows up there, and my understanding is that it was back and forth, blah, 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 blah. And Xi made one very, very important point to Trump. Do you know what that was, Peter? You don't know what the one major point of this whole thing to him was?
Tell me.
Well, for people who don't know, the whole gist of it was hands off Taiwan. No conflict in Taiwan. Stay away from Taiwan, right? Now, I'm sure he said it much more diplomatically and eloquently, but that was the gist of it. It was all blah, 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 blah. You know, Zuckerfuck and Ackman and all these, or not Ackman, what's his name? Tim Cook and all these oligarchs. But at the end of the day, what China cares about is Taiwan. And I think that it is very interesting that there are a couple of different perspectives to look at post that meeting. Like, what is that going to look like? Do you think that Trump is going to in any way, I don't know, heed that we just went there basically asking for help, and their one message to us is stay the fuck away from Taiwan? Is he going to heed that? That's the question. What do you think?
I think that we are in a very precarious situation right now, and I want to preface this with something very important. As you guys probably know, one of our favorite, if not our favorite, progressive activist is Medea Benjamin, and she had this to say about China. And about,
wait, is this relevant to the Taiwan thing, or is that something totally else? Because right, okay.
Well, what I was going to say is I want people to understand that when China says stay out of our business, there is a reason why we try to treat Taiwan as this Trojan horse that, oh my God, China's the worst country in the world. China is the real enemy. China are the evil people, not Israel. No way. No, it's definitely China. And so while everyone is touting, or the Zionist infiltrators who have bought off our federal representatives go up to people like Medea Benjamin and CodePink and say that they're all China operatives, and yet I think it's important that people understand where China's coming from, where they say, oh no, stay out of our business. We are being a world leader the way that other countries want us to be world leaders. Unlike you guys, where the overwhelming majority of the globe speaks English, the US dollar is still the world's reserve currency, and you still have the strongest military, which just believes in running roughshod over the world. We, on the other hand, don't see it that way. This is very important what Medea says right here before we jump into the story even further on Taiwan.
That China invests more money on clean energy than the rest of the world combined? That's right, more than 194 countries combined. And while China has been furiously building solar panels and batteries, electric vehicles, wind turbines, clean energy infrastructure, what has the United States been doing? Pouring trillions into weapons and subsidizing fossil fuel companies. For years, U.S. climate activists have been demanding a serious transition to renewables. But Donald Trump calls climate change a hoax and has been doubling down on oil, gas, and militarism. In contrast, China has made a strategic decision years ago to dominate the clean energy economy, and now around the world, people are driving affordable Chinese electric vehicles using Chinese-made solar technology.
Except here,
Products
pause
Americans
that.
can barely access.
Except here. We're like the only country that doesn't have access to those awesome electric Chinese cars that are infinitely better and outperform all the other brands.
Well, that's why I totally had to put tariffs on them, because they're really dangerous.
They were already there. We have had more than, like, I want to say it's been 100% tariff on those cars long before Trump was back in office. This has been going on since they started having such good product with their electric car. So, you know, that's absurd. Sorry.
Agreed.
Because of U.S. trade restrictions. China is even helping Cuba confront the devastating U.S. oil blockade by financing 75 solar parks around the island. And now, as the U.S.'s really war on Iran drives up global energy prices, countries everywhere are rushing towards renewables, a shift that overwhelmingly benefits China. Whether Donald Trump likes it or not, China has become the driving force behind the global renewable energy revolution. And if Trump was really a good businessman, he would recognize that the future does not belong to countries that excel at blowing things up, but countries that excel at addressing the real needs of people and the planet.
And, you know, I don't ever want to come off like I'm singing praises of China. I'm not. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I don't know enough about their domestic policies to know what I think. I really don't. I know that we hear things about their state media, but then I look at our state media. So, you know, it's hard to know what's real and what's not. From things I've seen of people on the ground, I have a good perception of a lot of parts of China, but I'm sure it's, you know, they've got their shit. They've got their billionaires, their oligarchs. They have their whole own shit. So we're not singing praises of China. But when it comes to Taiwan, the thing is this: whether or not Taiwan is part of China is none of our fucking business, because here's the thing, it sure as shit isn't ours. So even, again, I'm not arguing one way or another whether Taiwan should be independent or what. That is not my corn muffin, but it's not our business. So Colin, I see not the Politico one, the other one first, I think makes more sense. Let me see the other one first. There was two. Because the first, yes. So guys, this is coming. This is the BBC article, and it's going to look at the position of the Taiwan. Do we say Taiwanese? Do we say Taiwanese? Taiwanese president. And this is this is Taiwan's current perception based on, and here's the facts. There's some sort of big arms deal, right? Like we're looking to this, Trump and his friends are looking to sell like billions of dollars of arms or whatever it is, right, to Taiwan. Now, keep in mind, these weapons don't exist yet. They don't exist. Just like we're short everywhere. These are just deals. They're not even legitimate weapons yet. But the concept is whether or not they are entitled. Did you get paywalled? Is that what happened, Colin? That sucks.
Don't go spending our money on that. You don't have to do that.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. So
pull up the other article then.
Yeah, we can look at the other article. But so the point is that whether or not Taiwan feels that it should be independent of China, that's between them and China, and not us. So we obviously want to put through this very profitable arms deal. The head of Taiwan is saying, yes, we're all for that. However, again, back to the meeting, what was Xi's main point?
Do not fuck with Taiwan.
So now coming out of that meeting, and you'd be wondering, what's Trump's move? What's he going to do? And also, you should read this like with the Trump voice and the Trump comments, but yeah.
But also keep in mind, guys, why is Taiwan so significant? It's not that it's like the same thing with Ukraine. Everybody's like, oh, if Russia just wants Ukraine because they're ethnically Russian. No, it's the same thing with Taiwan. It always comes down to economics. It always has, it always will. Western Ukraine is completely covered in natural resources to the tune of trillions of dollars. Well, guess what Taiwan is? Taiwan is the key to the South China Sea. And we want to take it over. Because again, we're like I guess we're like a blob in some respects. You know, we're like the thing. It's like we have to find a new host that we can sink our teeth into and suck the blood out of them. And that's ostensibly what's going on here. So,
all right. So this was, I felt somewhat positive. I'm curious to see how everyone else feels after they hear how Trump responded. Again, not that what he says means anything, but yeah. You want to do it? You want me to? I'll read it.
U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer on Sunday attempted to clarify President Trump's recent threat to withhold arms sales to Taiwan, downplaying suggestions of a rift in the U.S. support for the island. In an interview with ABC's This Week, Greer said there was no change in American policy on Taiwan, seemingly contradicting comments Trump made last week to hold back on approving $14 billion arms deal to the island, which China considers to be part of its territory. The president is very focused on making sure that nothing happens there. This is why, when he talked to the media afterward, he said, I made no commitments to President. When we talked to the media afterward, he said, I made no commitments to President Xi on Taiwan. And the president will keep his own counsel on the sales and when, if that happens.
You know what's interesting, though? Wait, before you go on, scroll up a second to the paragraph right before here, that last sentence. Just so we're having aware of the bias, all right? Media bias, media literacy. This is Politico. And the way that they phrase it, which China considers to be part of its territory. Again, which China considers, not, they wouldn't have need to say anything, right? The sentence could just end contradicting comments to hold back on approving a $14 billion arms deal to the island. See that? It would have been exactly, but no, they had to throw in that it's supposedly China. Okay, continue.
President's very focused on making sure that nothing happens from here. Again, Greer also stated the reality is it's really important for the U.S. and China to have a stable relationship. There are two important these are two important economies. No, they're the two most important. The issue of Taiwan arms sales is something that the Chinese always raise. So yes. The president's considering how to approach that. Trump administration in December approved a record $11 billion package for Taiwan. But Trump last week said he was deliberating how to handle another major arms sale to Taiwan following a summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing. In an interview with Fox News' Brett Baer, the president said the decision would depend on China, which would be a significant change in American foreign policy. I haven't approved it yet. We're going to see what happens. I may do it. I may not do it. I'm holding that in abeyance, and it depends on China. It's a very good negotiating chip for us, frankly. It's a lot of weapons
that aren't even in existence yet. Again, okay? So let's remember that.
You continue.
And would be many years before they would be. But Trump's discussion of the sale with Xi could be an apparent violation of the 6 assurances, a series of commitments made by President Reagan's administration that the U.S. wouldn't consult Beijing on weapon sales to the island. What am I going to do? Say I don't want to talk to you about it because I have an agreement that was signed in 1982. Trump told reporters.
What am I going to do? Say I don't want to talk to you about it because I had an agreement that was signed in 1982? We discussed the whole thing with the arms sales in great detail, actually. Over the next fairly short period, I'll make a decision.
Trump's comments suggest another possible violation, this time of the 1979 Taiwan Relations Act, which commits the U.S. to provide Taiwan with arms of a defensive character and says it shall maintain the capacity of the United States to resist any resort to force or other forms of coercion that would jeopardize the security, social, or economic system of the people of Taiwan. House Speaker Mike Johnson told Fox News Sunday that the U.S. military and every president has been watching this closely and that Congress remains committed to supporting Taiwan's independence. Oh, we know you do. Again, another example of it doesn't matter whether it's red or it's blue. If we all recall, Nancy Pelosi traveling over to Taiwan somehow thought that was a really good idea to go travel over to Taiwan as if it's an independent nation. The nerve, honestly, I would like for Xi and his people to start interacting with Puerto Rico. I think they should start traveling there. I think they should start setting up arms deals with them. I think they should start setting up a whole base camp in Puerto Rico.
Just
Don't
stay
you?
on Puerto Rico. I think it's a great idea.
I mean, it's just so absurd. We have an interest in that as, again, to all freedom-loving people around the world, Johnson said, China cannot just go over and take the land. And we're going to stand strong and resolute by that. I know the Congress will. You dumb fuck. They don't need to go take the land any more than we need to go take Catalina. Okay? That's not how this works. It's theirs because it's fucking theirs. Okay. Like it's so ridiculous.
And that again is, it's no surprise because what we are seeing is again another example of a collapse of empire. We are trying to, we have for the longest time been able to successfully do regime change, if you will, in a lot of different places because we were always the bully. We always had the ability to deal with it because we had the superior hand, but we were always picking on the little guy. Now we're trying to mess with a country that is our equal, if not greater than. And as a result, if China decides that it wants to cut us off from the South China Sea, they do have the ability to do that. They have the military ability. They have the economic ability. They have us in numbers, their population, despite the fact that there are probably legitimate rumors to how populated the country of China actually is. They have us at least two, if not threefold. So this is not a war, if you will, that can be won.
No.
And I would also say that we are getting to a very dangerous place because now we're being put in a position, especially, again, it's all the signs. It's like if Massie wins tomorrow, the state of Israel continues to lose its ground and goes in a direction that does not provide a path forward where they might actually be eradicated. Now you take China, now you bring China to the equation. I've said this before, I'll say it again. The only reason why the United States, and especially Israel, are able to conduct themselves the way they do around the globe is because of the financial implications of not doing business with us. But behind the scenes, led by China in conjunction with Russia, South Africa, India, and Brazil, and now many other nations that form BRICS, they are figuring out a way to get around us. And once it is official that they don't have to deal with us, that's it.
Yeah.
Because we are not looking for a way out. We are not looking for an off-ramp. We're not looking for anything other than military might. And history has always shown that empires always collapse when their last bastion of effort to maintain their empire is through military might. If that's all they're going to try to do, then we are so screwed beyond words. And that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I think also, I see people talking in the chat about, China's relationship to Taiwan and independence for the Taiwanese. And I am all about the independence and self-determinations of people. I am. I do not know enough about the history of the people of that island. I really don't. But I know that according to the international laws that I think we would like to have some semblance of that Taiwan is part of China because Taiwan is part of China. It is. And here's the thing, just like Hawaii is part of the United States, even though I don't agree with the whole premise. I don't agree that it necessarily should be. I feel horrible for all the people we have colonized. The people of Hawaii have never really like given up who they are. I mean, but it's still the United States. I mean, we could work to change that, but that's our thing. We can't have another country come in and say, you know, we're going to start arming Hawaii so that they could have their independence. The idea is kind of cool, but I don't think we would tolerate it. That's what I'm saying.
Definitely not. Now, as it comes to what's happening here at home and the continued suppression of the news, the message, as you brought up, not many people truly understand that when it comes to EV opportunity, one of the reasons why Musk is the richest man in the world is because he basically entered into a gentleman's agreement to monopolize the EV market. Because he helped get Trump elected, now there is no competition. It's basically Tesla or it's nothing. That's your choice. Whereas China has a plethora of economic opportunity to offer in terms of what most people who have tried them have said, that the Chinese electric car is absolutely unequivocally superior to the American electric car, specifically Tesla. So
Yeah.
why is it that we have to suffer for this? Because our country is completely conscripted to corporate special interests and the Zio state. And so this was at a recent graduation. I think this is, I have to see the name of what university this is, but I want you to pay close attention because we're going to do this in two parts before Zach gets here. I want you to see exactly what happens at a graduation when somebody decides to hold up their native flag. And apparently that's a problem.
Thank you so much. Recipients, please be seated. Congratulations.
My name is Muhammad Aish. I'm a graduate student here at George Mason University. I just graduated, and I raised the Palestinian flag as I was walking on stage. And as soon as I went out, I got off the stage, they told me that I couldn't be in the arena, and I got escorted out. I did not see a notice that said that I cannot raise the Palestinian flag. I'm Palestinian, and I wasn't allowed to raise my country's flag, which is part of my identity.
They're just such little pussy crybaby. Like, why are they so offended by a fucking flag?
Well, because it's the truth. And
I mean, well, yes, but it's like, it's the
But you
fact
know-
that people have feelings like that about that flag is so enraging to me.
oh, it's a trigger point for Zios, without question. Keep in mind, where is George Mason University?
I know where it is.
It's in Northern Virginia. Do you know who lives in Northern Virginia? Very, very powerful Zionists, lobbyists, federally elected officials, and spooks.
Exactly. The Israeli
Lots-
flag would probably be fine. Exactly.
Yes. As it turns out, apparently there were other people flashing their flag, except the Palestinian flag is not acceptable. That's what happened to you.
And I definitely feel that my freedoms or my rights were infringed on.
I put up the flag as I was walking out onto the stage. As it gets low, told to escort me out, basically saying no flags. I didn't notice them kicking out anybody else other than me and one of the other people who lifted it up, also a Palestinian flag.
Turns out that there was somebody else there who I believe was flashing a Dominican flag, and no one said a word to them. That was perfectly
Probably
acceptable.
not. Right.
But
Right.
you
Right.
flash a Palestinian flag, and that's a crime against humanity in the eyes of Northern Virginia, where all of them congregate and basically decide the fate of this country. So kudos to them for doing it there.
That's it. So I have a story that I forwarded that you could see there. It's a drop site news. It's a piece about this Al Jazeera article or Al Jazeera documentary that recently came out that I thought was really interesting. Do you want to wait for after? Because it's going to take, it'll take a little while. So
Yeah, we'll wait until after Zach. Mhm. And so I want you guys to see something here. But here's the thing I want you all to remember, and this is why I want you to have some semblance of a positive outlook when it comes to all of this. This is why. If we were not winning, they would not have to resort to the tactics that they go to.
Germany just did.
Germany
and the Handala, that boy cartoon, that little boy. Yeah, right. It's like a boy comic. A Palestinian comic.
We know that this is working because the level of desperation that Israel has when it comes to college campuses and trying to convince students to get on board with this, because they understand that even though the boomers are their last bastion of support for their Zio state, not only have they lost multiple generations, they have lost them almost in totality. So they're so bad at this that they actually think that having actual IDF soldiers show up on these college campuses to talk to these students is actually a good idea. That at some point this is going to get through to them. And this is what is essentially happening at every single campus around the country right now.
Genocide? You aided in a genocide?
Yes, I'm eating kids. That's what I'm doing. Do you want to come and talk about it or not?
I don't.
So, okay, so you can go.
I don't talk to war criminals.
The war criminals? Okay.
Keep sucking our country dry.
Come and talk with me.
No,
And then a conversation.
No, you.
Why me?
You're a fascist. You.
By respect
Come
to
on,
you.
come on.
Just come and talk with me.
I don't want to talk to someone
I'm
like
not
you.
fighting.
Why would he want to talk to someone like you? Disgusting.
That's what I'm still trying to understand. No, come talk to me. Let's have conversation. Conversation about what? We believe that you should not be committing genocide and you think it's acceptable? What?
There's nothing to talk about. We have nothing to talk about.
And of course, they bit off more than they can chew. And this is one thing that we'll definitely talk about with Zach that I'm sure he's come across. And that is they 1,000% are hated. People do not like Israelis. And they were looking for a reason, any reason to get away from them. Of course, it wasn't this reason. We wouldn't ever dream of it being for this purpose. But the fact that they are now persona non grata, here's one thing I think you and I can both agree on. They are never getting it back, ever.
Our feed is getting throttled. Yes, I'm sure it is.
It's over. Yeah, well, it is what it is. We'll finish it up.
I don't want to talk to someone like you who supports an inherently genocidal state.
You're brainwashed, brother.
I'm brainwashed?
You're brainwashed.
That's funny.
I'm in the
That's
ever
funny.
been in Israel?
No, why the I go there?
So how do you know it's happening, what you're saying?
Because I can see with my eyes.
Okay. You can see with your eyes? You've never been to Israel, so you saw through the phone of your eyes.
Oh, what is it, AI?
I don't know.
Are children starving AI? Are there children starving in Gaza?
No.
Okay, you're retarded. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Oh my God. The way he said that, and again, I'm not saying it's socially appropriate because I know that we're not supposed to use the R word and I don't like to, and I don't like to, but my son, he sounded just like Reese to me the way he said that. Like that's how Reese would end the conversation. Like, all right, he would say it and just walk away. But that concept, and I want to be clear though, before we bring Zach in. So as somebody who did criminal defense out of law school and represented all different kinds of people, and I would represent anybody, I really would. And I always thought that was the case. And now I can honestly say I would never represent a Zio. And I've represented rapists. I've represented people that have killed people. I've represented all sorts of people that have done horrible things. And I don't have a problem with that ever. And yet I would never want to go have a conversation with that piece of shit.
They have no humanity.
So don't compare them to serial killers. That's all I'm saying.
No, they have absolutely no humanity. And just the fact that there is something that they do specifically to torture cats and dogs. I mean, if that's not enough to just set everybody over the edge, I don't know what is. But the good news is that the kids are all right. They are absolutely taking no shit on this issue whatsoever. And that is a very promising sign for the future, which means that they're on borrowed time. We've said they're on borrowed time. We know they're on borrowed time. And now they're starting to figure out that they're on borrowed time. Zach Foust is one of our favorite people. He may be having some connection issues. I'll find out with that in 1 second. But
it looks like he's somewhere out, like traveling like you.
Well, he's in Eastern Kentucky. But
he's in Kentucky?
He's in Massie's district. That's why we're bringing him on.
Oh, I didn't realize that's where he was right now.
A little bit of a surprise.
Massie's district is not the part of Kentucky that I'm going back to. I don't believe so. But yeah, there he is.
Well, let's keep this going because we never know how long the connection might last. Zach, are you good, brother?
Yeah, give him a minute.
So
Kentucky is so beautiful, people. It really is. The idea of Massie losing this seat, I think is more monumental than people realize. And again, it's not whether or not it's Massie. It could be anybody.
Well, he's a symbol. He represents exactly what this movement is going through right now. And if anybody can speak to it, let's speak with somebody who's not only a friend of the show, but is on the ground in Kentucky's 4th Congressional District. You know him, you love him, friend of the show, Zach Foust. Welcome back to Revolutionary Change.
What's going on? Kentucky represent, baby!
I see were you always a dipper, or is that now you're just like, in Kentucky, so when in Rome?
When in Rome, baby.
Okay. All right. No, I appreciate it.
It's one of them pouches, not dip. I ain't crazy. I ain't trying to get crazy
6
with
one, half a dozen of the let me tell you something. I'm a cannabis girl, so to me it's all the same. It's all not cannabis. Yeah.
How are y'all doing?
We're good. How are you? Talk to us. What's going on there?
Right. Listen, this is the 4th event we've been to. This a Massie event. Yesterday we got to go out to his physical property. He had us at his farm, cooked us pizza, took us around the property, showed us his cows. Like we were doing the whole deal. But man, I'll tell you what, the energy around Massie is palpable. The last event we were at, heavy 55 plus, which is exactly what we need right now.
Yeah.
Because I mean, outside of the young voters showing up, that's what we need. And I gotta say, the polls don't match the sentiment if I were a betting man right now.
I never know what to make of that because Peter and I, and you know this, Peter, like we've been in situations like that where how it feels is not always how it is. There is not always, I mean, I hope it is. Like I want the idea that Massie could get out would be like, why would anybody ever vote for Congress ever again? That's what that means to me. Like, don't even bother.
Well, that's why this election is so significant. He does, again, the thing that I don't think people are talking about enough, and one of the reasons my gut's telling me that Massie's going to hang on, he is the incumbent. He has been the incumbent for over a decade, and the people love him. This is not some guy that doesn't represent his people well. This is a guy who absolutely is welcomed in that community, that people like the way he fights for them. And as a result, even if you have a bought off candidate like Galreen, who's got $25-30 million behind him, most of it coming from the Zio scum, it's the fact that the people ultimately still have to vote. And are they going to try to rig the election? I'm sure they're going to try, but I think Massie just has a way about him where he doesn't show any fear. He accepts what's going to happen. He's not going to change who he is. And I really do believe that if he does win, that this is going to be a shot across the bow against the Zio state, that they're already reeling in so many ways, but this is one that they're going to have a very hard time recovering from, in my opinion.
Yeah, this could be the shot heard around America for sure. If the people can gather and actually put together a well-received message that ends up in a result that is different from what the Trumposphere and the Zionosphere want, then that is a experiment that has succeeded, and hopefully we can duplicate in future times, honestly. By the way, other friend of the show, Ryan Matta, right here. Great to see you guys.
And Ryan, we're doing good. I just want to say, on a side note, thank you for the exceptional work that you do backing up Candace, because I've been paying very close attention to what these sons of bitches out there, and we know who these people are. We don't have to name them because they don't deserve to be named. But at the end of the day, you are either on the side of a cause or you're just bought off for a cause that is not in line with the American people. And that is ostensibly what's going on here. And the fact that there are people that are, it's transparent corruption at this point. Like, you can see what they're doing goes completely against anything that anybody would want, and yet they're doing it for money. And so the fact that you guys are out there on the ground Like, we went out to Cleveland to help out Nina Turner against the Zio that she ran against a few years ago. And if you're putting in the work, my God, you guys deserve all the credit in the world for doing that.
Man, you know, I couldn't agree more. It's like we're team humanity, right? There's like a clear line between right and wrong, and these people are clearly on the wrong side of history. And I think exactly what Zach said, we've put together a political movement here that they've never expected. Even the Trump campaign and all these other war rooms, they came at it from like the old school days of politics where it was, you know, Jack Posobiec giving out the tweets like, oh, hey, share this video with Trump, use these captions, use these keywords. And it was like Benny Johnson, Laura Loomer, Cullen Rogg, Nick Sorter, the same goon squad, the Israeli first goon squad, tweeting it out. And that's what worked, and that's what got Trump in. The American people fell for it. And then what we did, we came here with no script, no play. Nobody was coaching us, telling us what to put out. And you had 30 creators all giving their honest opinion, doing their own format. Like, we each had our own different style, and they weren't ready for it. Like, I was putting out so much content. By the time Laura Loomer was even done attacking me, I had already like 7 new videos out. She just can't handle it. She's having a complete meltdown. So be prepared for some Larry Loomer crash outs later.
By the way, Larry, friend of his show, he's the one who pulled her out of the depths.
Yeah, I apologize, guys. You guys can blame me for that. When Larry was the most deplatformed woman on the planet, I went to Florida and spent like 5 days with her, interviewing her, bringing her back from the depths of hell.
Why?
And I apologize. I didn't even know what a Speaker of the House was back then.
Ryan, I'm seeing some people in the chat. I don't know you. I don't know who you are, but apparently you are a right-wing person. I don't know if that's the case, but I will say this about Laura Loomer. Okay, that woman could very likely end up being my first felony. And I'm saying that, no, I live in North Georgia. I'm not in South Florida anymore, but I would be concerned for her. Like, seriously. And I don't have kids in the house anymore, so I'm good. Like, I've made
She's a spawn of Satan. I apologize. I have no idea what I was doing, what I was thinking. I was clueless.
Oh.
And hey, listen, to anybody in the chat, like, the group we have together, we have blue, we got red right in the back, we got purple, you know, and you know me, I'm kind of brand agnostic. We're here for the people. We're here for people versus billionaires. Let's cut the color shit. Yep. Let's get rid of the colors for a moment and fight for beating Israeli money in Kentucky. Because if we can do this, we can duplicate this. And I'm telling you right now, we've already talked about it. And Tiffany Cianci is the one that got all this together, so shout out to her. But if this succeeds, this is going to send a level of fear and a second thought into when they try to do this again. Because if we succeed, we're not controllable. We're not getting paid, even though there's articles saying we are.
Yeah, we got paid some beef. We got some free grass-fed Kentucky's finest, so that was.
And we got some free pizza from Tom.
I also say there's nothing wrong with you being paid. Okay. I again, and this is something, and we'll quote Nina Turner, just because you're, you know, progressive or whatever your affiliation is, doesn't mean you took a vow of poverty. Okay. There's nothing wrong with making money to be part of the solution. You know what I mean? Like, it isn't, I mean, like, I hate when people say that there's like something evil about that. We all know the difference between making money and being a grifter. We do,
right.
We know it.
Yeah. A business versus a shill, for sure.
Yeah, and like you said, I think this should be organized at a level where it could be paid 100%. But this time, we just wanted to do it all for free, just to show that we're willing to do it. If the American people have to do it to save our country and do it for free, we'll do it for free. But if we can organize to get paid and put a coalition behind this, let's do it. Let's do whatever we have to do to fight to take our country back. And like Zach was saying, there is no, you call me right. I thought that I was right. But I think that's what they used us, is these identity politics to divide us, when at the end of the day, we're all Americans. We might believe in things different, but we used to have this thing called the vote. And when the majority of people were on one side of an argument, that was just it. You had to suck it up, whether you liked it or you believed something different. It didn't matter, because the majority should rule, you know? So
that's always my argument with the anti-choice people. When I talk to people that are the Catholics or whoever they are, that they don't believe in a woman's right to choose, I say, well, unfortunately, you're not in the majority on that. So that's one of those things where if you support the concept of a republic and some semblance of democracy, you have to understand you're not always going to get your way.
And on the flip side of that, the issue of constitutional rights, particularly the right to bear arms. The overwhelming majority of this country supports your right to own a gun. And unfortunately, there are way too many people who think it's their right to tell you, no, you don't have that right. And so the thing where I think there's a lot of crossover, particularly between, we've talked about this with Zach, and we'll tell you now, Ryan, there's a big crossover between progressives and libertarians on a number of very key issues, such as our civil liberties and foreign policy. There really is this need to coalesce around this America First movement. And despite what they're going to try to paint it as, and you're probably noticing that some of these scumbags out there that are affiliating with Gal Reen and doing whoever the hell that lady is that's calling herself an America First Works event, you know that their level of desperation is palpable at this point.
Yeah, they're so desperate at this point. It's overwhelmingly desperate. They spent I think it's almost up to what, $20 million?
$26 million.
$26 million to stop Ryan, Matta, Zach, Hunter, and like 15 more of us out here. That's pretty crazy, right? That's how effective we are. That since we've got here, they've had to throw almost another $14 million at this, and it's doing nothing.
Yeah, and we've seen the ads. They're AI slop. We've been able to talk to Kentuckians right here on the ground floor, and I talked to so many people that are just seeing right through it. So Ryan said he thinks it's going to be a blowout tomorrow. I'm not. So.
You can't stop for a second, though. No, you can't stop for a second. Stop for a second. I mean, you cannot sit and think that's going to happen. Like you have to go until tomorrow night, like you're 10 points behind.
Yep. And we are.
Well, listen, there's only going to be one blowout tomorrow, and it's a blowout from my little friend, Ed. That's the way it's going to be. Believe me when I tell you.
He's good, dog. I tell you, he's got the best one.
He's a really stupid person. And let me tell you something. Just because BB's, my friend, and I totally am independent of everything he does, Thomas is a really bad guy. He's a really terrible person. And you're two really terrible people there trying to help him, believe me.
Jen, do you ever get tired of the accent?
I don't love it, and people know I don't love it, but a lot of people like it. So it just is what it is. I mean, and the truth is, he does some of them really well. Like he's gotten really.
Oh, he's one of the best. He's one of the best. Comment if
Peter should continue with the accent.
And can I say one thing too? You know what's going to be interesting is how the court of public opinion would change when we stop allowing our government to take our tax dollars, funnel them into these NGOs, and then use these NGOs to force ideology upon our citizens. It's like the way, and I watch this, I've traveled to 24 countries, I've investigated all of these regime changes where our government goes into these foreign countries and they use networks of NGOs to funnel in billions of dollars, and then they force things like LGBTQ rights, drag queen story hour in these schools, like nobody wanted it, and that's how it happens, and it's been, all of our intelligence agencies at this point have now been taken over by a foreign government, and they're being weaponized against us like we used to weaponize them against these other countries to keep them in basically perpetual states of poverty. And then once you keep them into a perpetual state of poverty, you end up taking the middle class completely out of the equation, which you're seeing in America. There's this wealthy group, and an analogy like this, in the 70s, Zach was saying like a man working 40 hours a week at minimum wage could buy 1.76 ounces of gold. Today, that same man on a minimum wage paycheck can only buy 0.06 ounces of gold. So if you grew up in the 70s, you had it 2,579% easier. So our children going out into the world today, like they don't even stand a chance. So if we don't take our country back, put it this way, if we don't take our country back and that continues to shift, if your children don't own a home at 18, like right now, they will be perpetually stuck in the rat race, the 9-to-5 matrix as a debt-based slave for the rest of their life for all of humanity. And it doesn't have to be that way because the president of El Salvador just showed us what happens when you eradicate corruption from the top down, all the way from the president to the Secretary of State. You eradicate it. And in 3 years, he turned the deadliest country in the world to the safest country in Latin America. We could do that state by state here if we came together.
Well,
I mean, isn't he doing that by like public executions and stuff? I mean, we could just
He's never killed anybody.
El Salvador another time. We could table that.
Well, you are a big fan of Costa Rica and afraid of what the Zions may be doing there.
I am a huge fan of Costa Rica, but Costa Rica also doesn't have a military. It's Pura Vida. Let me tell you something. They're hanging out in hammocks with goats running around. It's life is good in Costa Rica.
So you have a 900% higher probability of going on vacation in Costa Rica and being killed and murdered than you do in El Salvador on a daily basis.
I will believe you. I'll stipulate that, counselor. However, I'm still not going to get with the executions and prisons.
You're making.
Oh, the Mylar? No.
Oh.
Wait, what? What?
I live there. I'm moving my whole family down there. I have documentaries out on El Salvador, so.
Very good.
So I have documentaries out on El Salvador. I'm moving my family there, so it's just we can talk about it and have a conversation, but the executions aren't happening. There's all the prisoners are in prisons, and no, they're not. They have 88,000 gangbangers with tattoos on their face that have shown.
You know, you're driving in the hills of Kentucky. You never know what.
I've driven in the hills of Kentucky. I can tell you, I have driven in the hills of Kentucky.
We were pretty good for like 15 minutes. I'm hoping.
Yeah, but who knows where they? But who knows where they are?
No,
the thing I'm going to work on with these kinds of people that you bring into my life. I feel like, you know, we have the same thing regarding we don't want our money and our resources going to.
They should.
Right. Well, we don't want that, but we have to work on a couple of things. One is the saying that it's our tax dollars. We know it's not. Let's not do that. We don't need to, reinvent that wheel. But the other thing is that we need to all understand, though, is that once we get to this agreement that we want America first and we don't want our resources going to Israel, that's all fine and dandy. But until they all then take the next leap to free Palestine and that Palestinians are worthy of self-determination as are other groups around the world, then we're only going to get so far with the whole America first thing.
Oh no, I agree. But I do think that
my thing with that group is we gotta work on that.
Yeah, and we are working on that, and I think that is very important. And listen, I would imagine that Ryan is probably going to try. Ryan and Zach are going to try to get back in here.
Here we go.
And here they are. Hopefully, we'll see. It's still off, but again, like I said, the fact that they have been able to get through here, and Lord knows they've got more events to work, through.
So are they there with like a whole group of content creators?
Yeah, apparently. Well, I think it's like a few of them that are there, and then obviously they're there helping out on the campaign. You know, Massie did a big rally the other day. Rand Paul came out for him and did a big event for him. And there were a few others that were there. Lauren Boebert, to her credit, people can make fun of Lauren all they want, but she did come to the district. And apparently Trump went after her very hard. And she was just like, I don't care what he says. I'm doing what's right. I'm supporting Massie because he's America first. And that's it. And you got to give credit where credit's due. And what I think will win the day listen, should we win the day tomorrow? Yes, we should. Will it happen? Who knows? But we'll see. Let's bring Zach back in. Hopefully the connection's good now. We good?
Sorry, we're in the boonies. I'm probably going to lose you again, so let's keep it quick. My bad.
It's all good.
No, I appreciate it. I have been in the boonies in Kentucky. I'm familiar with it.
We all want to thank you guys.
Very boonyish.
Yeah. We all want to thank you guys for the amazing job that you're doing on the ground. It is the most again, everything is all about on the ground action. That's why I've told you, I say to everybody, if you want to stop the Israel cause in this country, people need to be on Capitol Hill all the time because the Zionists are there on Capitol Hill all the time fighting for their cause. So it is incumbent upon us to do the same. And if Massie wins the day tomorrow, I agree, it'll be a shot across the bow that we haven't seen in quite some time. And it's something that I think as a collective in this country, we desperately need right now. And here's hoping that
I'll say one last thing before we probably lose out again. I'll probably just dip for sake of quality of the show after this. But we all got invited to Massie's property yesterday. He's cooking us pizza out of his pizza oven. He's telling us about how, he's built his house from the ground up, from scratch. He's got 60 plus solar panels. He's got cows. He's got chickens. He's living on 1,500 acres. He doesn't need this. He doesn't need this. No. And that's where me and Bobby Sauce are in the car with him. We're just like, why are you even going to DC? And his answer was pretty simple. He's like, I was afraid of what would happen to this country if I had. And frankly, he is the type of politician, and you guys know me. I don't really like politicians to begin with. This is a real dude, and he wants good things for good people He has good morals. No other politician I know would allow 30 random strangers into their house where his kids are crawling around, his wife's there. He's just no pat downs, no security. He's a real person. And I think morality is a far and few things to find on Capitol Hill. You can find it with him. That's why we're fighting for him.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, guys. Ryan, it was great to connect with you. Let's
God bless
definitely,
you guys.
yep, let's chat soon as well. Zach, appreciate you, brother. We're going to be highlighting. We're going to be highlighting.
Hey, maybe we can jump back on here in the end of the week after we get the results.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Sounds good, guys. Keep fighting the good fight. Talk to you soon. Thanks for having us on, guys. God bless
Bye,
you.
guys.
See you guys.
So I want to play a clip from.
It's all about the chicken.
Yes. Well, when he said the cows and chickens, I'm sure you got like really excited about that.
I get excited. Well, I don't have cows, but there's cows. Like I could see cows. Like if I open the shade, I could see cows.
Exactly.
There's 3 cows in particular that are in this one pasture here that are really cute. But yeah.
So Zach did a compilation clip that basically brought all of this together. That basically explains the significance of this race, how dirty it is, and why hopefully, knock on wood, Massie will prevail tomorrow. Really, lobbyists are funding now. Well, I don't know why that's happening. So, Colin,
it's not a good look.
Colin, that's not a good look. Can you tell me what the issue is with the video? You want to try again, or 1 second? All right. Colin's working his magic behind the scenes. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
So he's got to re-render it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens.
All good.
It is a subliminal message. It definitely is.
I mean, we're being totally shadow banned. We're totally suppressed.
Well, the good news is that we made a couple of adjustments today. And I hope Colin got my message about we don't need to play another clip today. It looked like our clips are doing okay. But apparently 4 clips or 4, whether it's 3 clips in a live or 4 clips in a day, is actually throwing us off. So we have to remove 1. So that's fine. That's less work for Colin as well. And apparently that's going to help people get a reminder about our show. So here's hoping.
Okay.
Colin, are we good?
No, not yet.
Yeah. Well,
it's going to be just a sec. It's a weird thing that Instagram does with some clips. So I just got to find the correct way to download it. So give me just a minute.
Well, I can't even do a voice like that. I won't even try it. It's so deep. It's so deep.
This is Zach's video about what they're doing in Kentucky. But why aren't they? Like they're not exactly Zios.
But they don't dig in on Israel the way we do. I mean, they do dig in on it, no question about it. But we've made it a mission. I usually, we both do it, but I do it probably more than Jen does.
I'm not on, Peter's much more active on social media. I'll go on and look at comments on YouTube videos, but I'm not on other social media. So it's usually him, but on our YouTube videos, it can be me.
All right, are we good? Don't be hating on Kentucky now. Kentucky's a good state.
I love Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky's beautiful, for sure. All right, we could do my story first if you want to, and then go back to it. I feel like we should cover it because we're on it, but.
Well, I want to close this out. So, Colin, are we good?
No, he'll let you know when you are.
What do you think is going to happen tomorrow?
No, it makes me very nervous. Not for my sake, not for me personally. I already know that it's just ridiculous waste of time. But I think it'll be the end. If Massie loses, I really think that a lot of people will become even much more defeatist about electoral politics, and it'll just further, stifle voter turnout in this country, and it'll just perpetuate the shit that we're in. But I don't think it'll make any real significant difference in terms of the trajectory of empire.
That I
that's-
agree with. I agree with that. And I also
So-
think that Massie said that if he loses, he's stepping away for good. Like he won't be involved in politics.
No, why would he? No, because there's no point, which is what I kind of think we're already there. Like I already don't see the point, but
I mean, like I said, I don't disagree. Any calls to action, Jen, from JD Party Hat?
look, I mean, people, it matters to get voters out tomorrow. The number one thing that they have to do in Massie's district is get voters out. Now, I would, and again, I'm not involving myself in this campaign, but if I were really like had a horse in that race, I would be volunteering to be phone banking tomorrow to make sure everybody's going out and voting. You got to be getting everybody out to vote or be boots on the ground to get people out voting. That's the answer to turnout. It's all about voter turnout.
I agree. All right, here we go.
Israeli lobbyists are funding now the most expensive primary in American history. It's happening in the 4th District of Kentucky, where there's 760,000 people, 596,000 registered voters, and of those 310,000 are Republican. Kentucky has been a Republican state for this position specifically since 1967. So whoever wins this primary will get the seat in Congress come November. Now, here's where it gets important. In the last 5 weeks alone, these PACs and companies have given money toward attack ads against Thomas Massie. See if you notice a trend. MAGA Kentucky has given $5.6 million for attack ads. Preserve America PAC, which is Miriam Adelson's main funding device, gave $750,000. The Republican Jewish Coalition has given $4 million, according to Ad Impact, and the United Democracy Project has given $2.6 million. The United Democracy Project is who AIPAC funds through. Paul Singer has personally given about $2.5 million. Who's Paul Singer? He's the one that got the go to buy Citgo back in November 2025. Citgo does refining of oil. Guess who was put in charge of refining the Venezuelan oil shortly after? You get the point. Paul Singer. So all of these individuals within the MAGA AIPAC sphere are funding over $14 million to ensure Thomas Massie, the one who simply doesn't want us to be at war, doesn't want us funding other countries when our own economy is falling apart, and by the way, understands the weight at which we should be attacking the Epstein problem. But it seems that MAGA and AIPAC don't want those issues tackled. And so Kentucky is under war from another country. And I don't care if you're anti-Israel, pro-Israel. What if Germany was coming in and influencing an election? What if Australia was buying up with lobbying money anti-attack AI ads to show boomers so that Massie loses? They're getting a warm body to run against Massie, throwing millions of dollars at that warm body to beat Massie, also that our officials and leaders of our country are not held accountable to what we, the people they represent, actually want. I will be in Kentucky with Tiffany Cianci, James Lee, Ryan Matta, many others to fight AIPAC. We are the people of America. We can stand up for our country and the people we want representing us, and we don't need any foreign money altering that. I'll be in Kentucky fighting for Thomas Massie. Whether or not you believe in Thomas or not doesn't matter. We do not need foreign governments infiltrating our elections.
I'm going to take it to the next level. All right. We don't need rich people buying our elections. I don't care what country they're from, quite honestly. I don't want the billionaires of this country buying our elections. But if the idea that it's a foreign country buying our elections versus just Zionist white supremacist empire, then sure, have at it. But I don't think anybody should be buying our elections. How about that they shouldn't be for sale? How about that?
I think that's probably more than one would want to ask, but at this point, this is not a situation where this isn't going to snowball further. So even if Massie somehow loses, that's not changing the sentiment surrounding our system, surrounding Israel, surrounding our trajectory.
Do you think he'd consider running as an independent?
Massie? No, I think that at this point he just. Here's what I do think.
Because he would probably, it would be like doing what they did to India Walton. Do it to.
Sure. But he wouldn't do that. Here's what I do believe. If Massie does win, I believe he's going to run for president in 28. That I believe. Because I believe he would have the juice to do it. And I think that
he's Heisenberg now, man. He's gone all Heisenberg.
Well, like I said, you and I both said that when his wife passed, something like awoke in him. Like he grew the beard, he stopped wearing the glasses.
He got
like
all
he was basically because this is why I'm not convinced that something didn't happen to his wife. And we'll leave it at that. Because he was already talking.
It was very weird. I thought it was very weird at the time.
Yeah, I did too. And
the G7 are having an emergency meeting. Good for them.
Interesting. I wonder what might go down there.
Mm-hmm.
So here's hoping that we have something positive to talk about on Thursday.
I hope so.
Jen, tell us about this drop site news story.
Okay, so you guys, I don't know how much you guys are familiar with the entire story that I'm about to get into, because it actually started a little over a year ago, but it is now coming out. So this is, I think, did I send you? I just sent you the highlight, the Instagram, but this is an article that I'm just going to give you the introduction to what we're about to watch. So this is from May 11th this year. Reporting by Annenberg Media that was first published last year exposed the sale of bodies from the University of Southern California and the University of California, San Diego, by the way, schools to the United States Navy. Okay, they have contracts with the Navy. They were selling bodies to the Navy. The Navy used some of these bodies to train Israeli military medical personnel. Al Jazeera, a youth-focused digital-only outlet, which is part of Al Jazeera, they just released this documentary on Monday. So I think must be last Monday. Yep. Yeah. So we're going to watch the Instagram clip that's sort of like a highlight of the documentary. But again, this is information that was released last year. So I don't want to sound like this is Brent, but the documentary is new. So where is let's play it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You do it.
Allowing the Israeli military to train on dead Americans.
The University of Southern California receives deceased bodies that were donated with the intention of advancing medical research and education. But an AJ Plus investigation in collaboration with USC student journalists shows that some of these bodies are being used in an Israeli military training course in Los Angeles.
The heart of this story, it comes down to transparency and informed consent. When you sign up to donate your body, either to USC or UC San Diego, nowhere in those donor agreements or consent forms is there an explicit mention of possible use for military medical training.
The bodies that are being used at USC are what are known as fresh tissue cadavers, which are recently deceased, chemically unpreserved bodies that are pumped with fake blood to stimulate a pulse. Trauma surgeons across the US told AJ Plus that this method is not standard practice.
It's kind of creepy when you think about it. Like the person is breathing and they have blood flowing through them. It ultimately simulates more realistic, like surgery-like conditions, but the people that we spoke to in the documentary, including the anonymous doctor at USC, thought that was one of the most disturbing parts of this.
This isn't the first time that Israel has used dead bodies without consent. For decades, there have been documented cases of Israeli forces harvesting organs and tissue from Palestinian bodies.
Are you okay?
I mean, do people not understand that there is no level of depravity that they will not sink to? That there are things that they will not do? I mean,
they stole Rachel Corrie's corneas?
Does that surprise anybody? It's funny. We've reached the point with them where there's nothing we could learn now that would actually shock us.
Well, that's where we are. And that's why I want to be clear. Like, this is not new information. It's a new documentary. And I would encourage you guys to go over. It is free. Watch it on Al Jazeera. Go watch the full thing, because they actually the students at these universities are the whistleblowers. The students, I don't know if it was like necessarily the journalism students, but they uncovered this the contract and put all the pieces together. So this is a new documentary on Al Jazeera.
Without the knowledge of their families.
The idea is that these Israeli soldier medics that are training are getting more of like a real experience for when they're treating their wounded compatriots or whatever in the field.
In the AJ Plus documentary, Dina spoke to family members of donors who were devastated when they heard the news. She also spoke to one woman who revoked her own donation from the program entirely.
And what she told me was, I don't want my body going to the IDF. I don't want to support anything Israel's doing right now, not their genocide, not their policies of starvation. Like, that idea is repugnant to me.
USC, which is the only known university in the US to have a contract that directly mentions the IDF in it, claims that the bodies are being used for educational purposes, not military training. But these are federal contracts, and Dina argues that their claim just doesn't hold up.
The Israeli military is coming all the way to California to train with the US Navy in a very specific manner on dead bodies that did not consent to it. It does not.
I mean,
Were you familiar with this story, or is this? I didn't know if you knew it. Okay.
I was not familiar with this.
Okay. Are you? Yeah, I just thought it was a good piece.
Because of course we're involved in this shit. So why not?
Yes.
Change the fact of who is receiving the training and who the training is being done on.
And this wasn't exactly a secret within USC. Dina says that there had been quiet discontent for a while, but nobody wanted to go on record for it.
That just tells you that how much fear there is still entrenched in institutions in the United States, where there's a lot of fear about criticizing Israel because it could cost you your job.
Most of the students who broke the story are current graduating seniors who have had the Gaza genocide as the constant background of their college experience. They told Dina that seeing this and the crackdown of pro-Palestine activism on their campus is what led them to investigate in the first place.
Good. They see the connections, that what is going on at their university is not so far removed from what is going on in Gaza, in the region, and there is that link there that they have uncovered.
It makes me very proud of those students. I feel I feel a little verklempt. I feel a little bit, because it's similar to how I felt about when they were doing the encampments. It's like, good for these students to put this shit together.
I also want to point out something very important here that she just said right before the end.
The genocide as the constant background of their college experience. They told Dina that
in institutions in the United States, where there's a lot of fear about criticizing Israel because it could cost you your job.
Yes.
I'm living proof of that, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why a lot of people don't speak out. There is a lot of fear that comes with saying this. Now, I believe as we go forward that there is more and more of a likelihood that people are not going to be afraid to speak up. And you're seeing it now, because the Greater Israel Project is making it crystal clear what these guys are up to and how the only way they're able to move forward with this is through us.
So in regards to that story, though, and I want you guys to understand what they're doing if it wasn't really clear. And this is something that is not typical, which is what she had said in that piece. So they're taking very freshly deceased people. Okay, now when you are in, and I went through the whole medical school and gross anatomy and all that when my husband did, because I couldn't get the smell of formaldehyde out of our house. But when you're doing the kind of work, when you dedicate your body to that, it's not usually very fresh cadavers. Like, it's not usually somebody that just died that day, right? Like, that's not usually how it goes. And yet what they're doing is they're taking very freshly deceased bodies, pumping them full of fluids, getting their heart pumping again, so that they're basically bringing them back to life. And then they're doing all sorts of sadistic, sick shit to them so that they can teach medics how to heal it. So then they're shooting them and doing all this sick shit to them while they are now hooked up to machines and blood is circulating through their bodies. Yeah. So I don't think, like, and honestly, I learned a long time ago when I was in high school, and I took anatomy in high school, and we would actually have human bones that we would be using to like study different bones and stuff, which is totally legit. And I remember looking in this skull where you could take the thing in the skull, and somebody wrote, "I was here." And I'll never forget that. And that was the moment when I decided I'm not donating my body for educational purposes, because there is a level of disrespect wherein somebody would write, "I was here" inside of a skull. But this is a reason why nobody should donate their, like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why people desecrate graveyards. People are weird, and people are inhumane. And the Israelis are all that and then some. And this gets back to how much they've infiltrated our country and why it is such a significant problem. And Colin, if you could pull up the Apple story. You know, for me, I'm an Apple user. I'm on a MacBook. And yet, from the Jerusalem Post, mind you, Apple announced the iPhone 17e with a chip developed in Israel.
This is a little bit, this article, you know that this is not new, right?
No, this is something that's coming to the
When you
forefront
sent me
right
that
now.
print, right? That's why I'm curious where you're going with this, because when you sent me that and I found the article, it's like a little bit older than.
It's a few weeks old, but it's not something that we covered. But I think it's very important. The new iPhone 17 model supports Apple's AI tools, features faster wireless charging, and includes the new C1X modem developed by the company's Silicon team. This is really sick. Apple recently announced its iPhone 17e, a model intended to make its AI technology accessible to a broader audience. Although the external design has barely changed, it appears that this time Apple chose to invest specifically in the areas where the previous model, 16e, began to feel outdated. A quiet upgrade under the radar. Apple launched the iPhone 17e in a press release without a flashy event, which they usually always do, and without a stage in Cupertino. Apple refreshed its entry device. iPhone 17e comes with an A19 chip, full support for Apple Intelligence, and a new cellular modem developed in Israel. All the same price tag. Yeah. The most significant news is found under the hood. The A19 chip, this is the same processor that powers the base model of the iPhone 17 series. And it is what enables the device to run the Apple Intelligence suite of artificial intelligence tools. In addition, Apple chose to double the starting storage capacity to 256 gigabytes. Significant amount of upgrade users without raising the price of the device. But here's the reason why this is such a big deal. If you thought that the Zios were spying on you before, now they're really spying on you. They are putting Israeli-based AI intelligence into the iPhone 17e to basically track your every move. But now Israel's going to basically be able to do that. And so for anybody who has a problem with Apple doing this, yeah, who's to say that they won't have that ability? Who's to say that it won't have a pager's capability of going off at random? Along the main processor, the iPhone 17e includes two critical developments by Apple's Silicon teams, the N1 wireless connectivity chip and the C1X cellular modem. These two chips designed to grant Apple technological independence vis-a-vis external suppliers, were developed in close cooperation with engineers from Apple's development center in Israel. Why does Apple have a development center in Israel? I think that's a bigger question that isn't getting asked.
I think a lot of companies have those, though. A lot of companies, especially tech, have connections in Israel like that. I don't think that's, I mean, yeah, it's gross and disgusting, but I don't know that that's unusual.
The N1 is responsible for managing Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth standards, while the C1X provides cellular browsing speeds up to twice as fast as previous generation, et cetera, et cetera. Another change, the iPhone 17 can now be chosen wirelessly at a speed of 15 watts compared to only 7.5 in the previous generation. Keep scrolling, Colin. However, those expected a dramatic design change won't be disappointed, et cetera, et cetera. Keep going. And so I bring this up because...
Although it's going to be available in a soft pink.
Oh, in a soft pink.
So I saw that at the end. It will be available in a soft pink. So there's that.
I would tell I would preface this very carefully, but if there is any multinational corporation out there that you have used their technology for any reason whatsoever, and you know that they're involved economically with Israel, be on the lookout for them potentially causing you direct harm as a result. Because what they're going to attempt to do, and I believe this, I don't think these things are going to explode, but I'll tell you what they are going to do. These are now their own little data centers for the powers that be to track people like Jen and I and anybody else who decides to speak out against the state of Israel.
I don't think whether or not it's Apple matters, because I'm an Android, and I assure you, Big Brother is watching me too. So, you know.
I would agree.
I don't know that, you know.
So I guess stop using Apple if you can.
Well, I've never been an Apple person. I've never had anything Apple ever.
I think at this point we're all on lists. So buckle up. As I often like to say now on the regular basis, we like to end on a positive note. So let's end on a positive note.
Wait, is this a Zio Hunter?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Got ourselves a Zio Hunter situation here.
Gotta do it. All right, let's see what we got.
We often point out that the thing about the Israelis is that they have a tendency to show their whole ass every time they attempt to go after somebody. And it's as stereotypical as it gets. To the defenseless, to the women and children, they will always act not only tough, but exceptionally volatile. And when they're confronted with somebody who is of their stature, possibly bigger, and can defend themselves, they often revert to the ghastly cowards that they are. And here's a great example of just that.
Palestine. Free Palestine.
Yeah.
Free Palestine.
Hamas.
You fucking Hamas. What's up?
You fucking terrorist.
You
fucking terrorist.
بنزونة. بنزونة. بنزونة يا حيوان.
شرموطة.
بس امك.
امك
شرموطة. امك عاهرة. Don't get beat up in front of your son, bro.
Yeah, sure.
Don't get beat up in front of your son.
Try. And you will get to jail.
Yeah, right. Yeah, of course I go to jail.
Yes, you will go to jail.
That's what y'all do, jail.
Yeah.
I bet you if I was a girl or a child, you'd hit me.
Yeah, sure.
I bet my life. But because you see I'm 300 pounds, I will fuck your ass up. You thinking twice and you hiding behind the police like the bitch you are. Like the bitch you are. Every Israeli's a bitch. Take a DNA test, I'll pay for it. Take a DNA test, I'll pay for it. Wallah al-Azim, I'll pay for it. Wallah al-Azim. Huh? Take a DNA test. Where's your grandfather from? My grandfather from Palestine. Where's his father from? Palestine. Where's his father from? Palestine. Why you got white stuff on your lip, you maniac? Get out of here. Get out of here. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. You want to go around the corner and fight?
No.
You want to go around the corner and fight?
I will bring the police here.
Yeah.
Of course you will.
See, when he's actually going up against somebody that is at least his size, if not bigger, they're not so tough anymore. And so when the guy tells him, hey, you want to fight? And he's like, no, but I'll call the police on you. I mean, for the love of God,
I'm not sure where in San Diego this is, but clearly it's a nice area.
Well, isn't a lot of San Diego nice?
Yes. I mean, affluent. Yes.
I'm not going to say it was La Jolla, but, wherever it is. It could be, some random place within that, the greater San Diego area.
Here's the problem that these Israelis and what they're not taking into consideration, a lot of it. And sort of going back to what I said earlier regarding Larry Loomer, is they bring out something in people wherein people are okay getting arrested for it. So what these guys don't realize is, yeah, he might get arrested, but you're going to have an ass kicking. And that's where we've gotten, where the threatening, we'll see. I mean, I personally think there are enough people that just would beat the shit out of him and spend the night in jail just for fun.
Yeah. I think that he is.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not, it's not, I think they underestimate how much people want to beat the shit out of them.
I think he has an idea. He's doing it with a smirk on his face, but again, he's doing it. First of all, he's doing it in front of his kid. So he thinks by doing it.
Like that guy said, I bet if I were a woman, you would, right?
Well, a woman or a child, he said. Specifically said that. Said then in that case, you probably would, feel like you have the courage to do something about it. But in this case, because I am somebody who is at least of your equal, if not more so, that you're not going to do anything. And he proved him right. He wanted to be defiant, but in that case, he wasn't being defiant at all. Instead, what he basically did was just play right into the stereotype, which is, I'll just call the cops on you. It's like, yeah, of course he would. Because in the case of the cops, you're confident that you could get away with something in their presence that he couldn't. That's also what he's doing. He's saying, cops on my side, not your side. So I can do whatever I want.
But again, I think he underestimates how punchable he is.
Very much so.
Of course you would, because you're a punk.
Yeah.
You're a punk.
Fuck off.
You're a punk.
Fuck
You're
off.
a punk. I bet you if I had a pussy, you'd fight me. 100%.
No, you're
a
terrorist.
pussy.
You're
a pussy.
terrorist.
You're a pussy. I'm
You're
a terrorist.
Kids
Y'all
murderer.
killed 100,000 children. I'm the terrorist.
You are terrorist.
I'm the terrorist.
You
Y'all
are
killed
terrorist.
100,000 children.
Yes.
Y'all killed
Yes.
100,000 children. I'm the terrorist.
You are terrorist.
I'm the terrorist.
And you threaten
I'm the
me
terrorist.
now
I'm the terrorist.
to beat me. Here's the police.
How you doing, man?
Officer, he just threatened to beat
I
me.
got everything on video.
Okay,
I got everything on
I
video.
can't listen to two people
Yes.
at once. I'm only one person.
You can let the bitch talk first.
Okay,
Go.
may I talk to you by yourself?
No. Talk to the bitch. Talk to the bitch first.
Okay.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead, bitch. Go.
Ladies first.
Okay, you want to go inside?
Sure, of course he does. He's a bitch. No, ma'am. You're doing your job. I'm not mad at you. He's just a little fucking terrorist bitch.
Okay.
Yeah. Go right ahead. Okay. I bet you if I had a pussy, you try to hit me.
Can we
I bet you if I was under 5 feet, you try to hit me.
Let's just go.
You little punk. I bet you.
Sir, if you're gonna be
I bet you.
I'll talk to you, okay?
Huh?
Okay, if you're gonna be
Free Palestine, bastard. Free Palestine. We're gonna get every inch back, and we're gonna get y'all bastards out of American politics.
That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear.
Oh, that's nice.
And you know what? Honestly, Jen, that to me, more than anything else, is what I think a lot of people need to start saying. People need to now basically tell Israel, tell Israelis, tell Zionists, you're damn right we're coming for the land. We're coming for all of it. You have not only won out your welcome, you have spilled the blood of innocent people to last a century. And that is exactly what's coming, because you had your century, almost anyway. And now it is time for you to pay the piper for what you've done. And this
There
was one of the,
there is no, I wish that there would be justice like that. I wish that, like, I dream of that there would actually be justice for Palestinian people, not just an end result where less of them die than necessary. I don't know. I don't think there's never gonna be justice. Just like I don't know there's never gonna be justice for the natives of Turtle Island. There's never gonna be justice for the people that we fucking kidnapped from Africa and brought here on ships. And it's like, there's never gonna be justice for these people.
no, but there can be, but we can ensure that they do not die in vain. To me, more than anything else, that is the most important part of this equation, is that we do not let them die in vain. And as a result, and this actually brings the conversation full circle, as I often like to say, when I met the Palestinian gentleman at this conference, I said, one of the reasons why the change, especially in the last 2 years, has been so dramatic to the point where you can't ignore it anymore. It's obvious that the pendulum has swung against Israel. And the reason why that is, even though there are so many people who want to pretend that everything started on October 7th, what really happened was that this has been something that's been brewing since June of 1967 with the attack on the USS Liberty in conjunction with the Six-Day War, which was basically the complete decimation, the decision that was made by Golda Meir and the rest of them to just completely kill all the Palestinians. Now, they were
Liberty, another one, no justice. There's another example of no fucking justice. The USS Liberty.
But they were shrewd enough at the time to say, we cannot do this all at once. We have to do this piece by piece by piece. 20 years later, they have the first Intifada, and then little by little by little, they kept doing it. But it came at a pace that people couldn't see in real time. We are going through a pace right now that is so lightning fast and so cataclysmic because of who's in charge that you can't.
I know.
Trump is like a car crash. You can't turn away from it. It's too obvious. And when the car crash is right in front of your face, eventually you're going to make a break. You're going to make a decision. Say either I'm on board with this or I'm not.
H299, as an atheist, that's not satisfactory to me. I want to see it.
Gotta have.
I want to see it. I want to know that it happened. And I want there to be a level of reparations. And there's a lot of things. And if only I were a person of faith where maybe that kind of retribution would satisfy me, but it doesn't.
Yeah. Let me tell you, no matter what happens tomorrow with Massie, it's going to be an inflection moment for our country. Because on the one hand, Massie either wins, and it's a shot across the bow, especially to Adelson, who's the most powerful Zionist in the United States.
Or he loses, and
or
it's basically
loses.
the end of electoral politics in this country.
And what you're also going to have are all of the scumbags within the MAGA movement that will show that the only thing that matters to them is their money. They don't actually care about America. They don't care about the cause. And the Zionists are going to cheer this on. And all that's going to do is continue to enrage the populace to the point in which, let me tell you something, there's a reason the channel is called what it is, because we're heading in that direction, whether people like it or not. They may not sense it, that's what's happening, but that's what's coming.
It is. Jerry Weber, I don't know if you're new here or whatever. It's important to distinguish because I come from poor Jews. I'm the first Jew in my family that went to college. My parents got married right out of high school. I come from working class people. So we never had that. All right. So it's not like there's this all Jews are wealthy thing, and you need to understand of what you speak. There, I assure you, there is generations of working class Jews. I come from them. So, yeah.
And as we've put into perspective many a times before, and will continue to do so, the Zionist cause is an elitist cause. Period.
Yes.
Like so many things we've been pointing out about the downfall of capitalism, it is constructed in a way that it's kind of like the rats on a sinking ship at this point. Everybody's trying to get their piece of the pie, kind of like Trump's kids, people like that, 1789 Capital looking at you. Then, of course, you take it a step further and you realize that the people who truly are on board with the Zionist cause, with the Israel cause, what's the common element amongst all of them, ladies and gentlemen? They're all elitist, all of them.
Yeah. So this is an interesting point. Libertarian Social Democrat, working class Jews are the key to end Zionism. I agree. And what's so ironic about this, and for people who don't know the early beginnings of Zionism before the state of Israel, like back when the early Zionist settlers were moving over and living and coexisting very peacefully with the Palestinians. For many years before there was the total destruction and the Nakba and all that. But a lot of those early Jews, the early Zionists, they were communists. They were wanting to go over there and create little communes and just live their own little lives and mind their business and do their thing. And a lot of them did that for very many years. And were not proponents of having an independent Jewish state necessarily. So there is a difference in terms of the socioeconomic factor, but the rich Zios, the Jews that you're talking about today, those are not anywhere near what the Zionist Jews were, that were the communists, the socialists that were moving over and forming little communities of agricultural communities. So I just, it's just, tidbit of education for you.
Free Palestine from the river to the sea.
No, it wasn't communes on stolen land. Let me be clear. Before the creation of the state of Israel, there were people that settled and purchased land. They were able to purchase land. And yes, that is because of the British Empire. Absolutely. And colonialization and the fact that after World War I, they divvied it all up and we know the story. Absolutely. So in that regards, it was stolen. But I'm talking about Jewish settlers that went there to just create a life there. And there are Jews there that are the very Orthodox Jews in Mea Shearim in Jerusalem that have never been in favor of the creation of a Zionist state, even though they're Jews that live there. They go back generations to people that peacefully coexisted on that land with Palestinians. So it's not a monolith, people. So what I'm talking about, kibbutzim, It was not necessarily on stolen land, other than, yes, stolen from, empire, from the British Empire. Yes, in that regard, yes.
We hope you've enjoyed. As often is the case, we ask whatever you can support is tremendously appreciated. So please go over to patreon.com/revolutionary change for as little as $5 a month. You can become a supporter of our small but mighty, despite heavily suppressed yet still growing channel. I'm going to give a big shout out to our super chatters of the evening. Citizen Pendejo with the 20 pesos. What the F? Sagar's sure he loses. Massie's sure of his. Yes, I think Massie does believe he's going to win, which obviously is half the battle. My gut's telling me Massie will hang on. It'll be close, but Massie will win. I'm thinking 3 to 5 points. That's
well. Now that you said that Sagar sure he loses, now I want him to win more than ever, just as a matter of principle.
Well, Sagar is just so smug that he's like so sure of himself on everything he says. So we'll see what happens.
You said it right.
Rabia Sadawi. Thank you so much for the 20 Aussie dollars.
Thank you.
Awesome. Piano Man with the $10, always a pleasure. Thank you very, very much. Citizen Pendejo with the 20 pesos. But China fined bear like there ain't ring cams here. I don't get the reference, but I appreciate
something to do with the ring cams, and I'm not sure. Something
Perhaps.
that Citizen Pendejo is onto here.
Citizen Pendejo with the 20 pesos again. Stu wants you to return his visit. He said as much.
Stu?
You talking about Stu Peters?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
He must.
I'd be happy to go on with Stu. Happy to do it. Constance and with the $2, come to Florida so we can win back Randy Fine FL6. Have you talked to Dan Bilzerian? He seems to have it under control. Just saying. Not really. Jim Talib with the $5. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate you as always. And what democracy with the 1 month membership. Proud to be on a list with y'all comrades. I thought he was saying all y'all for a second. That's why I got myself a little tongue twisted on that one. Jen, I think we do have guests for Thursday already. Is that correct?
I am not sure.
Well, one more thing, guys.
That seems like it's above my pay grade.
Guys, we also have a Substack, if you can, at Substack at Revolutionary Change, Substack.com at Revolutionary Change. And we also are on Rumble and Instagram. Revolutionary Change on both places. So your support.
Hold on a second. I have to address this. You guys, I will look into that. And I do believe that the overall plan from the people that were leading it was always nefarious and evil. And we know that from Golda Meir's diary and David Ben-Gurion. And we know that. I'm talking about a lot of the regular people that moved there. I know that the plan has always been nefarious. And it's always been a white supremacist settler colonial plan. Absolutely. But I go back to the fact that a lot of regular Jews, like my great-grandmother and people, were used as tools in that and were not necessarily malintended. That is of what I speak.
And to you, Murdog, from the river to the sea. Love you guys. Keep up the good work. Thank you all, as always, for being here. Remember, smash that like button, share, subscribe, do all those things we ask you to do. We love you all. We appreciate you all. We will see you Thursday, and free Palestine.
Free Palestine, guys.
Good night, guys.